So welcome to Fun Fridays from the Field. My name is Krista, and I'm super excited to have everyone with us here today. Today we have Gina from Northeast Iowa Community College, and she's going to be leading the discussion with Darren from Transfer VR, who is going to talk about his career in information technology and the super exciting field of virtual reality and coding to make all of that happen. The overall format of today is, Darren, we're going to let you start with your introduction. I know you have a slide presentation, and maybe just present one slide, and then you and Gina can kind of talk, and maybe the students, if they have questions, keep an eye on the chat, and then we'll kind of go on in that format. All right, Gina, I will let you take over.
Thank you, Krista. Great introduction. So we do want to thank our partners at Keystone AEA for reaching out to us here at the College and Career Connection program at NICC to involve us in Computer Science Week here in Iowa. So Darren's coming to us all the way from Texas to talk about artificial intelligence. And he does have a slide presentation, like Krista said, and we're going to maybe go slide by slide and talk a little bit about each slide, Darren, as we go. And please put your questions in the chat, and we will try to get to those as well. So Darren, tell us about yourself and your background and your education. I believe that's your first slide to begin with anyway.
It is. So let me share my screen. Make sure I have Zoom all set up here. Okay. So my name is Darren McCall. I'm a senior artificial intelligence engineer at Transfer VR. Transfer VR is a virtual reality simulation company. So we make simulations in virtual reality to help train in different skills. And I do AI here to make that connect through to a great experience for everyone who uses it. So I'm going to get started, and we'll kind of take a pause in between each slide so we can go over what we're talking about. My background, I have a bachelor's degree in computer science and philosophy from Gettysburg College, which is a small college in Pennsylvania. My degree is focusing in what's now called cognitive AI or ethical AI. So it's how do you get computers and algorithms to have a concept of morals and ethics. And yeah, I haven't done that pretty much since I graduated, but what my degree was focused in. Before college, did a lot of math. I was really interested in math and in history. Philosophy and history seem weird in this talking about IT, but they're great disciplines for teaching you and for learning how to be very concise and clear and forming decisions and arguments and communicating with others. And before college, I also took a computer programming class in high school and some stuff on the side. It's a great way to get introduced in the field now is using YouTube or a lot of those other resources out there. You can find free tutorials and learn a lot of the stuff we're going to talk about today. And after college, I've been working in some form of AI for 6 years now. And on top of that, a lot of independent learning and hobby projects to try to stay sharp in the field.
So if you had advice for students on what to get involved in now as they look toward their high school futures to help them prepare for a career similar to yours or something in technology, what would be some good things for them to do or plan for?
Sure. So learning how to code is kind of a linchpin to a lot of this stuff, but knowing how to code, or at least the principles of technology, is important no matter what your career is these days. It doesn't really matter how you get started and what language or what kind of project atmosphere you want to start in. You can do like Minecraft, that's all written in Java. You can learn how to write mods and stuff there. Roblox is written in Lua, same kind of thing. Lua and Java are great languages for getting started. They're highly structured and teach you a lot of the core fundamentals you'll need to know kind of for forever. And there's lots of little programming languages you can learn on the web, little free tools that will teach you the basics And this is somewhat like learning like a second language where, right, the basics, knowing the basics of how to learn and understand will help you no matter really what you want to do. So it's a good starting point is picking up anything that you find interesting.
So should students be prepared to get a four-year degree like you have, or are there other options to get into the field?
There, to do specifically what I do, so machine learning and AI, a four-year degree is standard. Actually, having a postgraduate degree is more standard. Pretty much everyone that I work with or communicate with at other companies have either a master's degree or a PhD in some form of computer science. But living proof, you don't have to do all that, right? If you take the time to learn this stuff on your own and do the research and learn, you can kind of catch up with that system. In IT in general, a four-year degree is not mandatory. Some of the best coders and programmers that I know got two-year degrees and then got a job and were learning throughout the whole process. So a four-year degree is not a necessity for most of this. Having the knowledge and the understanding and the ability to do the work is much more important.
Fantastic. Great answers. Thank you for helping us with that. So really what we're hearing is there's a variety of education options just depending on where you want to go with your career in technology.
Yes.
Awesome. Okay, let's go on to your next slide. What will you share with us next?
So there's three main things that I do kind of day to day for work. The first one is building intelligent systems which enhance a learner's experiences. We'll get into that in a little bit when we talk specifically about the VR and how that all ties together. Support and development of content in virtual reality. We're a virtual reality company. We build virtual reality simulations. That's a key piece of what we do. So being able to help those teams with whatever they need help with is a big part of what I do as well. And then across all of that is being able to design and communicate technical improvements and requirements. Communications are a thing I'll keep bringing up throughout this presentation because it's vitally important in a technology company, but at large, right? To be the ability to communicate well and help others understand what your perspective is and working with them on their perspective to make a decision is crucial for getting anything done. In IT, not in IT, right? It's a job, quintessential job skill.
Absolutely. So one of our questions is about employability skills. So that's one of the things Darren will hit on a lot and we'll get back to again. I have a question for you. With these being your main work responsibilities, what do you really like about these things that you do as a part of your career?
I really like AI and machine learning. So building intelligent systems is a fancy way of saying using machine learning and artificial intelligence, which I differentiate those. They're technically under the same umbrella of AI. I won't get into exactly why they're differentiated. Presentation's not that long. But I really like doing that work in a company like Transfer because what I'm building helps people gain understanding in fields that used to be prohibitive in entry. So it helps learners do something in VR and then take what they've learned and be able to do it in the real world, something that used to take much more time and much more effort having to sit down and learn something by hand. So what I'm doing is I like the problem it's solving, which is helping people get jobs, helping people learn. And it's something that is tricky, right? Every day there's something that needs to get reworked or there's a new perspective gets brought in by a skill that we haven't tried to address before. So it's a constantly evolving mechanism that you have to keep throwing solutions at.
So problem solving is key and a big part of what you do, it sounds like.
Yes, problem solving is the reason I like IT and software development in general is problem solving is right at the top of the things you need to be good at and things you need to like doing if you want to really enjoy what you do every day.
So for everyone listening, just so you're aware, the reason we're connected with Darren is the virtual reality headsets he's talking about. We actually have a set in our region through College and Career Connections at NICC. You haven't had a chance to try them yet, but we have the career exploration module. So hopefully those will be coming to your school in the near future. We still have a few details to work out, but we're super excited to try those out with you and hope you really enjoy them. And it's a great way to get a hands-on experience with some careers and see what you like and maybe what isn't for you before you go into a work site or start a college program. So thanks, Darren, for being our partner with that and with today, and we'll let you go on to your next slide.
Okay, the next thought I have is this is a kind of a bigger overview of the important skills I wanted to highlight for what I do every day. Both the technical pieces and the soft skills required for working at not just transfer, but for being a good teammate and a good coworker. Thing number one for what I have to do is have advanced coding skills. The code, I spend most of my day writing code. It's not the nicest thing to do if you don't have a really good understanding of what you're writing and how to write it. So having a good understanding of the language you're using, as well as a high level understanding of a lot of other languages to understand what's the best to use. The main language I use every day is Python. Though in the past, I've used 10 or so other languages, from JavaScript to C# to Java to Perl, and we'll talk about what those are important for later. A strong understanding of software development and best practices, right? Being able to work efficiently, work well, make decisions in a timely manner, right? Important, especially in software where there's millions of solutions to problems. Having a good understanding of what the better solutions are and a good timeline for getting those things done. Proficiency for machine learning and artificial intelligence solutions implementations. That's much more specific to exactly what I do every day, as opposed to general IT. Again, those things are things you can, now there are lots of resources you can learn for free online, how to do some of these things. There's great things you can learn, or you can go and do for free that teach you the basics of machine learning and AI that used to you would only get after a 4-year degree. Now you can start learning that stuff in your spare time and the weekends. The bottom three are all communication. Right? We're going to talk about this a lot, but being able to effectively and clearly communicate with your teammates, critical, especially in IT, where you'll have everything from people with a really deep understanding of technology to an intermediate understanding to a novice. You got to be able to explain to everyone and talk about things in a meaningful way with everyone, which is the second one there, ability to explain complex and technically involved problems and solutions to a layperson, a novice in technology, for example, and be a team player, right? Despite what some tech companies might want to make you think, none of this stuff's done as a solo project, right? Everything is done with cooperation and teamwork. The better team player you are, the better the team will perform, the better you'll like your job, and the better everyone else will like their job.
Those are great tips for employability skills in any career. So we appreciate you sharing that with us for sure. Tell us about where you're working from today. What is your office look like? And what might students expect if they think they're interested in a career in technology?
Sure. So my office is my house. I work remotely. Set at the top. I live in Austin, Texas. The company Transfer VR is based in New York City. So I work 2,000 miles from the office. IT in general is moving more towards remote, though there are still plenty of cases we have to work in an office. The job I had before this one went into an office. So you'll find a healthy mix of both, but it's very important to be able to having the core skills of being detail-oriented and thorough, having really strong communication skills and really good technical expertise are important whether you work remotely or from or in an office. Remotely, you have the ability to control your environment much more to help your productivity. In the office, it's much easier to communicate with people. You don't have to send an email or a Slack message. You can just turn to someone and say, hey, you want to talk about this? But in either case, you need to be efficient, right? Remote or not, efficiency is key with being able to perform and keep you and your teammates on schedule and on time for the things you need to get done.
Excellent. Okay, we're still looking for those questions. I'm curious to know if anyone in our audience is currently doing coding as well. So if you have anything to share with those experiences, we would love to hear them. And we'll go on to the next slide to see what else Darren has to share with us.
We're to the exciting part now, the VR. The work that I do is what we build is a two-piece system. One part is the virtual reality that you actually experience inside of your headset. And the second piece is a back-end system that does the things that I build. So in VR, you'll have a myriad of tasks depending on the simulation that you do. For example, in the top left, the task there is to pick up that box. When you do stuff in VR, it gets communicated to our backend, which creates what we call a learner history. It creates a model of who you are, the person in the simulation, doing whatever it is that you're doing. And what that does, what the learner history does, is it allows us to create a representation of the understanding that we think you have based on what you've done in the VR. And that's important because it helps us track and helps you keep up to speed with how well you understand a topic. The goal being that if you did something in VR, afterwards you go do it in the real world. That's actually what the term transfer means in learning science, is the ability to do something in one environment and go do it in another. We've kind of stretched into VR here. So if you picked up a box following specific instructions and protocols in VR, right, we'll track what you do and give you feedback to be able to say, hey, we know that they can go pick up a box, they can do the exact same thing in the real world. And this extends to the system we built extends from picking up a box to changing a tire to changing oil in a car to doing electrical equipment design, right? It's a lot of different subjects that we've been able to apply this technology to. And I know we got this question last time, so I'll bring it up. The VR part is all written using Unity, UNITY, which is an environment and a product. And all the code is in C#, which is spelled C with a hashtag or a sharp in music. Anyone knows music. So if you're interested in the VR piece of this, after you get to use the headset, you're like, wow, this is cool, I want to build those things. C# and Unity are the two, Unity being the tool, C# the language. And that's something you can get started with tomorrow. There's amazing YouTube resources out there for teaching you everything from game design to virtual reality to almost anything you can imagine. So there's great resources for anyone of any age to start learning how to do that.
That is fascinating. And when you get your hands on those virtual reality, you probably won't want to give it up. But the oil change is one of the most popular. We have several people in our office now who believe they could change their own oil after never having done that before. But maybe ask your parents' permission if you think you can do that after you have that experience. So we're excited for you to get to try those. Why don't you tell us about quickly a few other jobs in technology that it takes to make all of this happen within the virtual reality system?
Sure. So on the virtual reality side, there's kind of two main positions, one being a virtual reality engineer or a software engineer who specializes in virtual reality. That is in that Unity and C# space, right? Someone who's well-versed in Unity and building video games almost in C#, right? The other person is a more traditional IT position or a development operations position, which helps take after the simulation, the code is written to make a sim, packaging all that together and delivering it to the headsets via updates or whatever system. Those are the two main pieces on the front end. On the back end, on the other side of the dichotomy in the system, is a backend engineer who builds all of the APIs or application interfaces for the virtual reality to talk to our system. The backend stores stuff in databases, that sort of thing. And then what I do, which is in general a specialty engineer, right? So that can be everything from artificial intelligence to doing data storage, to making special things like the career exploration that you guys will do. That was something that one of our other engineers kind of spun up one day off of the main product.
Okay, we are at our 1:20 mark. Why don't you share? I think you have one more slide, Darren, for us. And if you have any questions, it's a good time to get those in there. Oh, I think we've covered most of these.
Yes, we've covered most of these. I'll leave them up. Everyone can look at, in my opinion, 6 key pieces of being a good collaborative teammate and coworker, remote working or sitting next to the people with whom you work. And these are 6 things that I find to be the most critical for being effective and efficient in your job and helping everyone else do the same. But if anyone has questions.
And is there anything you don't like about your job? Because it seems from this conversation, you really, really enjoy what you do and would hope that some of these students look at a similar field in the future, because clearly you have a lot of excitement and passion for what you do.
I love what I do. I wouldn't want to do anything else. The main downside that I see in the career that I've chosen is that technology evolves very quickly. And kind of what you knew, not even what you knew last year, could be irrelevant. What you learned yesterday could become irrelevant because of something, a new discovery, a new implementation or development that other people have worked on. So you got to stay on your toes. You have to constantly be learning, looking out for new resources and practicing to keep yourself sharp. So it's a very demanding upkeep to keep relevant, but it's immensely fun. And yeah, I wouldn't want to do anything else.
That is great. Well, we thank everyone for tuning in today, and we especially thank you, Darren, for joining us. We know you're very busy and we appreciate your time. We invite everyone to be part of our future career chats with College and Career Connection at NICC, which is a member of the Iowa Intermediary Network. And enjoy your afternoon, everyone. Thank you.